Feeling good, honey? Just laying in the breeze, relaxing, honey? That's good. Hey, Sarah, how you doing today? How's it going? Going pretty good. I just took Daisy for a swim. It's a nice day today. How's your day going? Daisy's day is going great. Feeling good, hun? Feeling good, honey? Oh, thank you, Carol. Yeah, I got lucky with my dog. You know, it's weird. Took her swimming, and I ran into a lady, and she says she had Shih Tzus that were a lot bigger than Daisy. I didn't know that was possible, which is why I thought Daisy was a mix. Oh, I love Havre, Montana. I love that town. What are you going to be doing out there? Be prepared now. It's hotter than a son of a bitch out there in August. And if you're, I don't know which way you're going from, but I'm telling you, it matters. If you're heading east to west or west to east, it matters. And if you're heading west in August, you're heading into that sun. And it's hotter than hell. We have the same problem here as you're going north on I-75. In the summer, you got long days, and the sun's setting in the west. So if you're northbound after 2 o'clock, you can plan on getting broiled until you get to your destination. Hey, Watson. I am feeling better, but I sure was sick yesterday. Yeah, I got sicker than hell. I'm not 100%, but at least I'm getting better. Okay, so you see what I mean? Yeah, so you're going to be going west, but just be prepared. You know, they got a lot of little things that can help you in your car, like that dark strip on the top of your windshield. Those little plastic inserts that hang down from the top on your window. They're dark. They're not that expensive, but you'll want to take every little advantage you can on that trip, and it won't cost you much because you will be broiled heading west in August. Oh, you'll love Haverman. That whole area, man. If you're into trains, there's an Irish bar in Havre, Montana, and you can just sit there and see these trains. It's fantastic. And another nice thing you'll find out there is they're really cool about people liking trains. You don't see no trespassing and the cops hassling you. You just looked at as a guy that likes trains. The whole time you see the whole train out there, it's crazy. From the beginning to the end, it looks like centipedes. That's why they call it Big Sky Country. Yeah, that's right, Watson. Yeah, yeah. I felt really bad yesterday. I'd say I'm about 50% better. I had that happen with the normal flu shot about 4 years ago, which was a factor in me dragging my feet. Oh yeah, you're gonna love it. Now, just my everywhere you would like. Uh, if I were you, I like to get on and head straight west out of Minnesota. I would not go down low like around Chicago and cut down 80. Get up high as soon as you can, and then start west around Minnesota and take Route 2 west. If you've never been to Glacier Park, it's a good experience. But you can make some big time out there. I mean, the speed limit's 80 miles an hour. Nobody around. You'll be on a nice hot summer day and drive 300 miles and not see a car. Yeah, it's so cool. Hey, Mark. Well, it makes sense to you when you get out there. You're gonna love it. That's why get yourself a GoPro. GoPro 9. They're coming out with a 1080 day. GoPro 10. You'll get your money's worth, man. You can just have it on the dash running. And another thing too, if you do that, get the GoPro, and you take your laptop, get an external storage. You can get a really good one for about $70. I've got a 5 terabyte external storage, and just download all your video at the end of the day or photos on this external hard drive. Have a good day, Watson. No, and that whole area from Chicago west is ugly. And even though there are places that, I like in the Upper Peninsula, I try to skip it whenever I can. And evidently a lot of other people that have driven through it one time think the same thing, which is why they're willing to pay to go on the Badger. That's something you might want to consider, the SS Badger. That's that only ship like that running. It's not going to go forever, really. It's a historical experience. You could get on over in Ludington, and then you're home free, man. You're on the Wisconsin side, and it's nothing but green pastures and great driving. You can make your way northwest. Hey, Brian. Yeah, no, you'll really, and you want to get a big card too. You want to get the fastest SD card. They give you one when you buy a GoPro, but it's like a lot of things you get free. Get a 256. That way you're never worried about it. Because if you're shooting 4K, which, why wouldn't you? You've got a 4K camera. That takes up a lot of space. When you decide to buy it, let me know and I'll tell you exactly which one to get. Hey, Patricia. Yeah, GoPro is really great, man. There's so much you can do. Today'd be a good time-lapse video on these clouds. They look so cool. I ordered that 15 times multiplier, and I've recorded those ants. Oh, did you, Wesley? Yeah. I mean, it's experience. It's an experience. I love it. I mean, the notion that you're out in this old, cool ship. I mean, it looks like the Titanic, just kind of an old, cool ship. You just sit around. It's beautiful. It really makes you appreciate the Great Lakes and it's the only place like that in the world, Great Lakes like we have. You're out there and you can't see land from either side. Hey, Faye. That's right, sir, yeah. And if you look, people think, well, it's expensive. Not really. Not when you consider another 9 hours of driving around just kind of plain scenery. You're not only saving 9 hours, you're saving 9 hours of crappy scenery. And you're being let off in a beautiful area, and it's going to be like that way all the way out to Montana. Yeah, you'd really like it, man. You would like that just like you'd like a train. And you can take a lot of videos and stuff. Yeah, it's fun. See, this is I-75, which most people know about. I'm surprised there isn't a little more southbound traffic. There will be, I'll tell you that. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I would say it was because of what it does for the dollar amount you're spending. I mean, if you're going to get good camera equipment, for still photography, it's nothing to drop 4 or 5 grand on a couple lenses and a good camera. So the notion that you can take these kind of images, put it underwater and everything else for $400 is like a steal. Yep. Yeah, I say it's one of my. I think it's a steal. As I've said before, I had a GoPro 4 or 5. I don't remember which one. It was such a piece of junk. I used it twice and gave it to the neighbor kid. But these have come so far. They've had all these years to increase their development and research, and it's paid off. Yeah, we'll go out there. I think my next trip, I'm going to cut down. I'm going to head out through Oklahoma and New Mexico. I haven't been out there in a while. Now, do you have to go in August, or could you go later in the year? That's my girl. Yeah, I want to get back to Havre, Montana for sure. Well, the train activity up here is like dead. Yeah, I would definitely not go in August. First of all, you've got the summer traffic, which is not up there so much, but getting from Massachusetts to Wisconsin. But I'm telling you, man, you'll be driving west into that sun for a couple thousand miles, and that's not fun. I'd go in September or October. Be much more comfortable. I mean, you like trains. You want to get out of your car and be sweating your ass off, getting sunburned, waiting for that perfect shot, when you could be in cool weather with much less traffic 2 months later. Yeah, October's the way to go. Yeah, I'm just local, around home actually. I took Daisy swimming. Go ahead, hon. Go on. Hey, Katie. Yeah, go October. You could even go later if you want. It's dry out there. It's dry. Everybody thinks because you're out in Montana. If you're not in the mountains, you're not getting the snow that you think you would get. It's dry. Yeah, I hate the heat. It's a pain in the ass. Today's a perfect example. If I never saw another 90-degree day, it'd be too soon. Hey, Wesley, how you doing? Faye, did your company end up leaving? Yeah, it's true. It does. Yeah, it's nice. Yep, really friendly. Those towns are just so cool. It's like time stopped. Like they didn't do any remodeling. like all this green. Yeah, no, it's so cool. There's a million towns like that. Minot, North Dakota is a great place too. You can make your way up that way, to head west. Yeah, you'll love it there. Yep. It's not bad here today. Yeah, full blast. I don't blame you, Brian. I like Wyoming, but I like Montana better. It's good too. Colorado's nice. Oregon's nice. I'm not a big Washington fan. If I never saw California again, it'd be too soon. Hey, Dana. See you, Wesley. Have a good day. Have a good day today. Yeah, my arm doesn't really hurt that bad. Man, I sure felt like hell. I'm in West Branch, Michigan. Deborah. Hey, Carla. If you go on Google Earth, you'll see this. You look at exit 212, West Branch, Michigan, you'll see this parking lot I'm sitting in. That's the rest stop right there. She just jumped in the back. I just got done taking her swimming. Yeah, I'm feeling better. I'm not out of the woods yet, man, but I was sicker than hell last night from about 9 till 6 in the morning. I think it's humbling, though. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but it makes you really think about your health. There's people that are feeling that way and are never going to feel better. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I felt like shit, man, big time. I mean, I knew what it was, so I was at an advantage. But if I didn't know what it was, I'd have definitely been trying to go someplace money. I think I had that damn COVID last summer. Like, I forget what month it was, but man, there was about 10 days there where I just absolutely felt like shit, big time. I thought I was having some kind of organ failure. Oh, okay. Hey, Alethea, how you doing? Yeah, I'd say I feel 50% better. Yeah, see, I got the Johnson & Johnson, just the one shot. I was a little surprised. I'm not complaining, but, I just thought I'm going to get this damn thing. So, the Rite Aid right out in front of my house. But anybody I know that got the shot, they make you hang around for a little while to make sure you're not going to have a reaction like anaphylaxis or something like that. And that place didn't. It's like, oh, thanks for coming in. See you later. Yeah, it didn't happen. They just let me take off. And evidently, when you open up that vial, there's 5 shots in there. Now, I don't know whether places, because the government's giving it to them, they don't care if they only give one, they got to throw the other 4 away. I don't really know how that works. But I was just kind of surprised I could get that shot at 2:30 on a Saturday with just me in the waiting area. Hey, Blue. You know, you're gonna laugh at this. I don't know if I had a fever or not. You know, I never check that kind of stuff. I know I feel like shit, and whether the thing says 102 or 100, it wouldn't matter to me. I'm sick feeling, you know. I don't know. I'll tell you this. When I went to bed last night, I shut off the fans, got long underwear bottom, long underwear top, winter socks, and I wore a winter hat to bed. And it wasn't until 5 in the morning that I started feeling hot, even though it was 77 degrees in the room. So that's when I started to get better, but I was cold. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, Faye. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do interviews. Yep. No, I didn't really. I felt cold, but I didn't feel like I had the chills. You know, it's different. Yeah, it didn't really feel like chills. It just felt like cold. It felt like sometimes in the winter, if you get behind on your sleep. And I had stayed up all night for that chat the day before, so I probably couldn't have set myself up for a worse day to get the shot. But you know, I scheduled it and I just followed through with it. And then when I'm not feeling good, I don't feel like eating or drinking. You know, I know you should, but I just can't get around to doing it. So, I'm sure that contributed to it. Oh, really, Blue? Wow. I could have had a fever. I bet I haven't checked my temperature in 50 years. Old Daisy, it was funny. Daisy, I was telling you, and I think Daisy's a smart dog. Yesterday was a perfect example when I was on that bird observatory platform. And those people had those 2 big dogs running around. That was a perfect example. She knew something wasn't right when I didn't tell her to go ahead. She goes down and plays at the bottom of that thing. I said, "You need to stay here." And she looked around, sat right down, did that for about 10 minutes, and then laid right down on her stomach. So just by talking to her and her recognizing something wasn't quite right, that's exactly what she did. No problem at all. Oh, you'd like it, Sorrow. Yeah, you're going to get mainly Middle Eastern. You're not Lebanese down around Detroit, that kind of thing. Yeah, my arm doesn't hurt that bad. Yeah, you see what I mean, Blue? That's a perfect example. That's how she's been her since a puppy. You just talk to her a little bit. She'll look around. She's always looking, figuring things out. That's all I had to do was say that. Normally, you've seen me out there with her before. She's running around. I'm not saying anything. It's okay to go down there and do your own thing. But there were too many cars, and those 2 dogs were out there, and she did exactly what I wanted her to do without any big deal. Yeah, she's a sweet dog. Especially Dearborn. Yeah, I lived in Dearborn for 5 years, and I didn't grow up too far away from there. I love Dearborn. You'll see these crazies out there, and they talk about Muslims and terrorists and all this bullshit. There's no problem in Dearborn with Muslims and the other people that live there. I'm not. If 2 white guys get in a fight, that's what it is, 2 white guys. If it's a white guy and a Muslim guy, well, they try and say, well, maybe it had something to do with religion. It didn't. You know how the media works. Dearborn's a great place to live. And the Middle Eastern population is great. There's no problem at all. It's almost like the media seems to be disappointed. Yeah. It's a quality place. Look at the housing prices in Dearborn, Michigan, the school system. All the main criteria you would use to determine whether or not you wanted to live there. No problem at all. Good schools, good when you call the cops, they show up. Lots of things to do. You're close to Detroit. It's a quality place to live. Yeah, it's been that way for years too because my dad worked at Ford Rouge, and he started there like in the early 50s, and there was a big Muslim population. I remember him talking to my mom about it. I did find another setting on this phone to make it not look so washed out. I hear a cat meowing. You too, Lord. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's true. Yep. It's crazy. With sound, everybody thinks it's decibels, which of course matter. But it's also frequency. I had that happen in Chicago. I lived on the 32nd floor, and under the right conditions, you could hear somebody sitting at a picnic table 2 miles away, clear as a day. And that's kind of what's going on here right now with a cat meowing. I don't know where it's at. It could be a mile away. Hope some cat didn't get hit by a car or something. Hey, Rita. Oh, did you really, Mark? Wow. I love living in Chicago. I decided to leave Florida, and I had a non-compete in Michigan where I couldn't do any work there for 10 years. And I'd already, I just went to an Atlas. I had only been to Chicago one time before I moved there. So basically, I just went to an Atlas and started checking things out. And my work generally dealt with a lot of insurance companies, so I thought, well, I'll go to Chicago. And that's what I did. I didn't know one person there when I got there. Just got off the plane, took a one-way ticket, rented for a few months, and then ended up buying. I'm glad I did. I loved it. But I got sick of that after a while, too. It's a great experience. But living downtown, you start, really missing when you could just drive to a Walmart late at night. But I loved it. Hey, Mary. Yeah, it's beautiful. But I didn't love it so much that I miss it and I want to go back. I haven't been back there one time since I left 10 years ago, May. It doesn't interest me. Matter of fact, I've considered heading out west different ways. And the first thought I have is, how can I avoid Chicago? I don't even want to go back into my old neighborhood. Yep. But I'm glad that I did it. For the first 2 years, it was like being on vacation. Chicago's a legit world-class city. If you've never been down in the financial district at noon on a weekday, or at O'Hare Airport during a holiday, or going down the Magnificent Mile around Christmas, it's like the old days. Oh yeah, I believe it. There's tricks and times to go, like I can remember after being there when you first get to Chicago, you're like, wow, it's like sensory overload. you're down the train station, trains going all over, like people everywhere, and it's like, I remember thinking after I was there about 5 years, and people are asking me for directions, and like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I think, my God, I can't believe that I actually know how to answer these questions because I've been here so long. What's the best way to do this? What's the best way to do that? Ways to get to O'Hare, ways you can like take a cab halfway and the blue line the other half. You know, little tricks you learn by being there. I spent literally hundreds of hours roaming the streets of Detroit, I mean Chicago, all night long. I'd walk. You know, I didn't have a car for 3 years when I lived down there. I'd walk down to Navy Pier, and then I'd walk, and some days I'd get lunch. And it's like, you know what, I'm going to go down, take a cab down. I'm going to go to the Sears Tower. And then take a cab down there. It cost me like $12. Go up the Sears Tower. Everybody's on vacation. I'm thinking, I can't believe I live here. You know, and I just do this like it's nothing. I always took the boat rides. I'd take 2 of those in a day sometime. Taste of Chicago, go to that. It was a great, good experience. It really was. Bye, Sorrow. Have a good day. Let me know when you really start planning that out. I'll tell you what to get and some really great places you don't want to miss. Yeah, Taste of Chicago is a good time, man. I mean, it's just like the only thing I did see Metallica at the Raceway, but I never really took advantage of like the House of Blues where you'd have groups like the Stylistics or maybe Gordon Lightfoot. There, I did miss out for some reason. It just never worked, you know. Of course, I went to the Art Institute, the Science Museum. I never messed around with the zoo too much either. Millennial Park. I was there during the whole construction of that. Yeah, they got that new platform now where you can go out and look down. It's a hell of a view. I did some nice black and white photography. I have literally probably 200, 300,000 photos I took of Chicago while I lived there. Of course, back then it was film, not much video, and it was really cool. It's changed so much in 10 years since I've left. Yeah, the House of Blues. Yeah, I would walk down there once in a while. I'm not really a blues fan. I'll tell you a funny thing, and I'm not knocking it, but blues just doesn't sell, man. Even in a place like, you know, Chicago, those places all went out of business. You know, there's some comedian out there, and one of his punchlines and one of his jokes is that he got super drunk, fell down a flight of stairs, broke both arms and broke both legs, and woke up in the middle of a blues concert. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. You want to go to a good zoo, a top-notch, excellent experience. Nothing like it. And I'm counting Cincinnati and San Diego. Go to the Toledo Zoo. It's world renowned, the Toledo Zoo. You know, as I've gotten older, man, I'm just not really in, though. They've run out of excuses on keeping animals in cages. With all the available information out there and YouTube and books and research, it's not cool to have animals in cages. You know, that's how the same way, it's the same thing that Disney did when they pitched keeping killer whales in a damn aquarium, that it got to show youth the beauty of nature, and that would lead to conservation effort. A bunch of bullshit. That's total animal cruelty. It was a capitalism at its finest, at the expense of wildlife. You'll never find a better. Don't, I tell people all the time, don't believe what I tell you. Do your own research. That's actually a private entity. It's run privately. It's not run by the city of Toledo. And I'm not knocking them, but you've got some top tier world experts in a lot of fields that are curators at Toledo. And when you go down there, I mean, it's like this is very noticeable. Yeah, the shift that took when the city didn't control it any longer. But if you listen to lectures at a symposium about world class zoos, Toledo comes up all the time. Yeah. I remember I was a kid, you know, of course we would go down, even when I was a kid, our field trips would be to Toledo, not Detroit, which it's really in Royal Oak. Detroit Zoo sucks, I think, compared to Toledo. But I remember we went and we watched a tiger act in a cage, and that damn tiger, after the act, got up, went right up to the side of this like wrought iron barred cage, and peed all over about 10 students and the 2 teachers. I mean, it looked like a fire hose. I mean, they got soaked with tiger urine. I mean, it was knocking off their hats and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm doing a lot better, but I definitely was sick yesterday. I couldn't even fall asleep. I was so sick. Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, we thought it was funny as hell. It didn't get us. I can remember a kid in my class. Those baboons were in there in mating season. You know, there's certain anatomical parts that become swollen during the breeding season. And I can remember the kid sitting next to me because we could see the back of a baboon. He asked the teacher why somebody cut one of the baboon's heads off. It doesn't get more innocent than that. Oh, that's cool. I'll tell you, I don't know anything about it, but I've kind of dabbled in it. This is my winter project, but music theory is absolutely fascinating. Music theory. And there's so many people. I mean, how do you determine success, right? I say the same thing with the YouTube channel. I feel the same way with music. There's all sorts of successful people out there. Like the Bee Gees, an example. None of them could read music. And there's plenty of people that can read music. They understand music theory. And they won't make $5 a night singing or playing someplace. It's one of those odd deals. But music theory is fascinating. I just been around, you know. I mean, you live this long, and you do things. I've always been like, you know, people get knocked for ADHD, but it's not all bad. I always have like a bunch. I'm always like interested about everything, and I don't know that much about one subject, but I think if I didn't have that kind of constant distraction, I probably wouldn't know a lot of these things. Hey, Conan. Yeah, it's super interesting music theory. I didn't know a damn thing about it. I'll tell you what I've learned. This shows you how you learn things sometimes. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, you know, I want royalty-free music, right? Because it's a big pain in the ass, and you get flagged, and you can get strikes. You know, who wants to deal with that shit? And I looked my ass off, and I finally just stumbled upon. It's not that easy to find. You would think with YouTube and all these social media platforms that you'd have a bunch of choices on royalty-free music. You don't. And the music that YouTube gives you sucks. So I stumbled upon Epidemic Music. Epidemic Sound, I mean. $15 a month. If you guys are into music, try it out. You get a free month download. You can go in there and download 1,000 songs and not be charged if you want. I continue to pay them even though I probably don't need any more songs because it was such a deal. It saved me so much trouble that I just don't want to be a cheapskate and, you know, download 1,000 songs, use them. I don't have anything to worry about and then cancel my subscription. I don't want to do something like that. So I just keep it. But when you're searching for certain songs, you understand the beats per minute, cadence, progressions, and I didn't know a damn thing about that before. Here's the bottom line. There's a formula for successful songs, like Rick Ashley, songs that you hum to yourself. This stuff is etched in stone. And when you stick to that formula, you're you're in line for a top hit. I'm telling you. It's just like the difference between babbling and talking clear, concise English. There's a lot of science to it, and when you really analyze this from the back, there's a formula for successful songwriting that just permeates the human brain. So great, so crazy. And there's people that just have like, this crazy ability to. I'm telling you, songwriting. I put that right up there with Chuck Yeager. Until you, I bought another thing when I was out there in Lexington or Louisville, one of those places, and it was interviews with the top 20 songwriters in the last, I don't know, 30 years or something. And it's excellent. And they went through and they talked about how they came up with these songs. And there's some people that took them 5 years to come up with the song. Other people came up with a hit song and wrote it on a napkin on their way to the airport. But the point here is it's a super gift songwriting. And then when you attach music to it, it's just like a crazy amount of talent. Oh, thank you, King. Yo, no, you're right about that, Dylan. That's exactly it. If you look at like the Bee Gees, an example, uh, yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Just these, they're like the Michael Jordan of songwriting, and it's never, stereotyping happens, right? I do it too. That's because you've seen 10,000 examples of whatever it is. Why would you think it'd be any different when you're looking at 10,001? And you kind of think of a songwriter, it's like just kind of like a regular person, writing at a Barnes and Noble or a Starbucks coffee, and they like the arts, they like the fine arts, and they have a degree in English and a master's in fine arts from Iowa, and they're twiddling around. It's like, hey, what do you do for a living? It's like, I'm a songwriter. You think, oh wow, your chances to run into a songwriter that's successful is almost zero. And then you read the bios of these people that have written all these hit songs. Todd Rundgren's the same way. Look at all the songs he's written for people. Another freak musical genius. But for some reason, I can't figure this out. It almost seems like Todd Rundgren was blackballed along the way. When you look at that guy's talent level, I mean, when you've got people with PhDs in music theory talking about what a genius Todd Rundgren is, that means something. He doesn't stand a chance in hell. Not that I think you got to be in the Hall of Fame to be recognized. If you look at the Hall of Fame, that seems like a bunch of bullshit. But it just goes to show you that, and a guy like that with that crazy amount of talent, he's out playing basically in between a stadium and a coffee shop after with this kind of crazy talent. They found it, Barry. But Todd Rundgren, I went to a concert there like in 1975. That's when they used to call it Pine Knob. And I'll never forget, I took this girl from Monroe, so I had to go pick her up at Monroe, drive way up to Pine Knob. That damn Todd Rundgren, it was right about the time he started trying drugs. And he played all this psychedelic bullshit. I mean, people were walking out an hour before the concert ended. He didn't play any of his hit songs. Hello, It's Me, Real Man, none of them. I was so pissed. So we ended up leaving there, and I had an electrical overcharge in a solenoid in my car, and it fried all my wires on the way home. Headlights, taillights, interior lights. I had to get towed home. She didn't get home till like 5 in the morning. Her dad was a total lunatic. He thinks we're out in the woods screwing someplace. It was just a nightmare of a night. Yeah, Pine Knob, yeah. I went to a few. I thought it was okay. I didn't really like Pine Knob that much. I mean, you're outside, the sound sucks, everybody's trashed. I never considered that fun. Yeah. This girl ended up, I wasn't really into her that much. She ended up going to nursing school and decided to get a master's degree and was working at a bank, and they accused her of embezzling like $50,000. She was never charged, but there's no way in hell this girl would have done some shit like that. She just wouldn't have. This money came up missing and they thought it was her. No way. And I used to joke with her all the time. It's like, hey, where is this money, She said, I didn't do it, man. She didn't either. I'm 100% confident she didn't. They never did really put two and two together. They did end up getting the 50 grand back. I forgot how that happened. But later on, she ended up going to medical school and was a practicing physician for about, I don't know, 30 years. She married some older guy that was a doctor from Quebec. They were on again, off again. They had one son. She contacted me about 20 years ago over some custody thing. It's crazy. Oh, did you, Mark? Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, this girl was like, I mean, she was super smart. I've been lucky, I had like, and I was crazy in high school. I mean, a total delinquent. Barely graduated. I had a 1.8 grade point average, but I always had smart girlfriends. One went to MIT. Two of them were valedictorians. And they didn't do shit in life. One got a degree in, I mean, she was an all A student, just kicked ass on the ACT and the SAT. She ends up getting this bullshit degree from Michigan State in recreational therapy. I mean, what a waste. Another one got a degree in the same way, super smart, great, good grades. She could have done anything she wanted to, law school, but it didn't interest her. She ended up getting a degree in history, and last I knew, she was working part time at some kind of place out in South Dakota, someplace. But to come from where I came from and go to MIT, that's pretty damn impressive because I guarantee you she had all sorts of catching up to do. No, Dylan, that's so true. No, you're right. Exactly right. I had a neighbor in Chicago. He reminded you of Pee Wee Herman. Super smart guy. He was number one in his undergraduate degree at Harvard undergrad, and was also number one in his medical school class at Harvard. He was a dermatologist. They brought him into a practice. This is probably 15 years ago, and it was kind of like a quasi see patients, manage the practice too, and they started him out at 520,000 a year. And once in a while we get lunch. We didn't have a lot in common. You telling me? He must have got a hold of my transcripts. And basically, he told me he thought Harvard was a bunch of bullshit, and that it was overpriced and overrated, and that he had recognized people through practicing that, went to Caribbean medical schools, but they were diligent in keeping up and continuing education and that kind of thing. And he just thought the whole thing was an overpriced scam. I know another guy that went to Harvard, black guy from Cleveland. He ended up playing against Earl Boykins in high school, who, played in the NBA, and he said this guy was like 5'4" and just destroyed everybody. But anyway, he ended up getting a full ride scholarship to Harvard and played football. He played 1 year for the Philadelphia Eagles. And you bring up Harvard, you just see like a smirk on his face. He thought that they had kind of used him and brought him in there, and he said he thought it was just a big bunch of bullshit. Pine Knobs, it's up near Clarkston, Michigan, off I-70. Now it's the DTE Music Theater, I think. Isn't that crazy? Hey, Chili. So crazy. Yeah, I met some interesting people. If you go on YouTube, you'll see there's a video of some of these athletes that were at the top of their game, and I've mentioned this before. I dated Jose Canseco's old girlfriend, and he was in his heyday when I had met him a couple times. Just a total arrogant asshole. And life didn't really work out too well for him long term. Although the irony of that is, fed governments and countries do it too. They'll get everybody not liking you, and then when you go in there and jerk them out of their country by the hair and hang them, nobody's mad. And Major League Baseball was going through that steroid scandal. At the time, McGwire and Sammy Sosa were, battling for the home run championship. And Sammy Sosa went to my health club. And actually, Jim Riggleman was the manager of the Cubs at the time. He was my neighbor. Great guy, super skirt chaser. Had a different girl over there every night. He was always trying to give me tickets to games. I didn't care. But there was an assistant coach he had named Dan something working with him. And when they ended up canning Riggleman, they canned Dan too, and Dan was going to the health club. And I remember him telling me that, the Cubs organization was just a big piece of shit, and that Sammy Sosa was nothing but a steroid injecting drug addict, and that everybody knew it and nobody wanted to do anything against it. Well, it seemed like sour grapes at the time. Well, as it turns out, this guy was right. But my point here is, when Major League Baseball had someone that was about ready to squeal on some of these superstars, they went on a smear campaign second to none. And all of a sudden, they villainized Jose Canseco. I mean, his numbers were crazy. It's kind of like Kaepernick, and he couldn't get a contract anywhere. That's because they wanted to shut him up. Then he came out with the book Juiced about all these people doing steroids. But by the time it came out, they had slandered and libeled him so bad that everybody thought that Jose Canseco was just some big jackoff out there with a big mouth that was washed up and was pissed because he couldn't continue to play. Well, as it turns out, Jose Canseco was 100% right. Dead on. We know this 20 years later, but at the time, they did a good job on silencing him. You heard him, you thought it may be true, but you blew it off because of the marketing campaign they did on him just being a big washed up loudmouth that didn't know what he was talking about, when really everything he said was right. No shit. Honest to God, man. I'm serious. No, I haven't worked out in a couple of years. Actually, yeah, I'm going to renew. That's why I got. That's part of the reason why I got this damn COVID shot, because I'm going to go back to a health club. And as you know, with the shot, you can still get COVID, but it doesn't kill you. Yeah, it's really cheap. We have a really nice weightlifting gym up here. 24-hour access. They give you a key. I think it's like something like $150 a year or something because I'm 65. Go in there whenever you want. Big time sick. I was sicker than hell yesterday. From about 9:30 at night last night till 6 in the morning, I was sick as hell. Big time. Yeah, I had some pretty interesting things. You're not going to believe this, but I did some work for Michael Jordan too. I did. And I got to know his trainer, who was the nicest guy you'd ever meet in your life, Tim Grover. There's something happened there, and I don't really know what it is. If you look up Attack Athletics, he got conned out of that, and he got a big. But something happened with Jordan and Grover. And Grover never told me. I didn't ask, but I don't really know what it is. Grover, he had trained Dwayne Wade and a couple other guys. Nicest guy you'd ever meet in your life. I did some work for him as well. Nicest guy you'd ever meet in your life. Just a good guy. But now, the well kind of dried up with once Jordan retired. And, now he's writing these motivational books. Look him up, Tim Grover. You'll never meet a nicer guy in your life. I'm not kidding you. Yeah, and I don't know how his book's doing. I know his marriage was shaky there for a while. He's a great guy. He was just the kindest, nicest guy in the world. Jordan would come in there and ignore everybody. Jordan's a big asshole. I played in two basketball games with him where I saw Jordan just like elbow like these older white businessmen at lunchtime trying to have a good time. He is a big asshole. Larry Bird's kind of the same way too. Just argumentative, always trying to start fights. You'll be playing, 21 with a guy that didn't even play in high school, and he's like trying to, block your shot and break your nose. Just not nice people. But it was interesting. Jordan was screwing about three girls in my condo building at the time. Both those girls, super nice women. They end up marrying pro athletes later on. One was a soccer and one was baseball. But it just goes to show you at the time, good marketing and keeping your name out of the limelight. It's how things are sold to the public, man. It really is. Look at the Kennedys. They not only screwed their mistresses, they raped them and murdered them. What did the Kennedys do? They had fondue and aged cheese for lunch. Bill Cosby, who always bragged about never using vulgar language in a monologue, he just didn't think that profanity had any place in comedy. But as it turns out, didn't think anything of dropping a roofie in a drink and butt fucking some struggling actress. So you see the difference on how worse behavior led to better things for the Kennedys? Look at, he drowned his damn secretary and left, drunk. And how things turned out for Bill Cosby. Yeah, it's so crazy. As it turns out, Bill Cosby and his wife, Camille, give her the American Express card. And it's like, why don't you get the fuck out of here for an hour? And she was fine with it. They tried to nail her with being so complicit, but there just wasn't enough there. She had a great lifestyle. I mean, she had zero of a relationship with her husband, but it worked for them, as dysfunctional as it was. So you never know how things are gonna turn out. On that bribery for college scandal, that was not an original investigation for that. They ended up finding out about that through doing wiretaps for different reasons. And then along the way, it's like, hey, look, we got these, famous actresses getting these kids that shouldn't be getting into these good schools, and it started another investigation. But that Lori Loughlin, I mean, same with Martha Stewart, just two of the biggest bitches that ever lived. They pissed people off so bad that they guaranteed that they were going to charge her and make something stick just because they were so impossible to negotiate with. That could have been such an easier path for her. But you got a lot of money, a big ego. You knew that Hallmark was going to can your ass once they knew that you were part of a bribery scandal. I mean, that's exactly what they don't want. All these celebrities, they have a clause in their contract. It's called unfavorable notoriety. And what that means is you don't need to be convicted. If I'm representing McDonald's and somebody accuses me of grabbing them at the ass at a party, that's all it takes to cancel my contract. Unfavorable notoriety. I don't need to be convicted. And that's how they dumped all these people. Martha Stewart with Kmart. It's going to be LeBron James too if he doesn't learn to shut his big mouth. All these years I thought, man, this guy's a genius. I think it was Warren Buffett's influence, but now he's starting to talk crazy too, and it's going to cost him some sponsors. That's where the real gravy money is. That's where the gravy money is. Sponsorship. You're getting $10 million a year and you're not doing anything but 30-second commercial spots. It's also what cost Brett Favre his gravy money. Note to self, do not drink and send dick pics to gold diggers that work within the organization. Have you seen what's happened to Brett Favre's commercials? You see him on TV anymore? All the gravy money disappeared. Same thing happened with Tiger Woods with Nike. Although they were able to, show a half-inch stick of therapy and moving on and doing the right thing, and Nike brought him back. But the crazy gravy money is through endorsements. That's why Derrick Rose didn't give two shits when he trashed both ACLs playing basketball, because right before he did that, he signed a $280 million contract with Adidas. So yeah, he would have liked to play it and made another 10 million, but it didn't matter if he didn't. He still had a new Ferrari and 3 or 4 girlfriends and a house wherever he wanted to live. That's where the money's at. Licensing and endorsements, not actually playing the game. What's this chili guy doing? He did, but if you read between the lines, you know, Brett Favre doesn't seem like the smartest guy in the world. And then his wife had breast cancer, and as it turns out, he was out fooling around. That's not exactly who you want hawking your tennis shoes. I know it's all a bunch of bullshit and, marketing, but that's how marketing works. You portray this image, and when the guy sends 10 dick pics to the masseuse that worked for the Green Bay Packers drunk, you don't exactly want him selling your underwear for you anymore. What's that, Margaret? Yeah, I felt like shit, Louise. I really did, man. I really felt sick. But I was at the luxury of knowing why I had it, which is why I think I had COVID a year ago. And that's exactly how I felt. I thought, man, I don't know what the hell I got. I felt like bad. Hey, Emma J. Yeah, I mean, some of these people, I try and spell it out. It's going to be the end of it, I hope. Honest to God, man, I was completely happy with just taking down videos where people had got to meet people through my channel, going away, and just doing my own thing. And it didn't work out that way. I had to take the offensive. But I hope it's all behind me now. Yeah, and I'm not saying, I was in a bad mood yesterday, didn't feel good, and I probably acted inappropriately to someone that came on and started talking about plants were better than medicine. I'm not perfect. I do have kind of a short trigger sometimes. I don't want to discuss COVID being a big misunderstanding and a population control. I don't want to stay away from these things. I don't want to talk about the earth being flat. Hey, menthol. Yeah, I've been in a big time slump for about 10 months. Nobody wants to hear some son of a bitch that's depressed come on and talk about it. I know I don't like it when I hear it, so I've just been trying to get the hell out of this nosedive for about 10 months, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't get out of it, man. I tried everything. Yeah, it really does. Hey, Buttercup, how you doing? So I hope I can get a little better, But yeah, to answer your thing on the trip, yeah, I do. I think I'm gonna head out to like Oklahoma, New Mexico, come back up, come through Nebraska and Iowa in the fall. I think that's what I'll do. I don't really like summertime that much, believe it or not. There's different schools of thought on that. One, I'm light skinned and I get sunburned easy. Two, I think if you're depressed, it's a false sensation of happiness. That, your family's at the beach and, you see all these things on TV. Which I mentioned this before. You get thinking of these things and it makes you come up. I was in a Harbor Freight here about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and I got talking about this black guy. Had an excellent conversation, really good time. And racism came up. And I'm interested about these things. I want to hear it right from the horse's mouth. And I felt the timing was right on it. So I said, I want to know about this. He grew up around Detroit. I said, I know racism is alive and well in different facets. And what's your take on it? And he told me. He said when you're coming from areas where there's not a lot of money, they're not picking up the garbage, you're turning on the TV, you're seeing a nice new park being put in Royal Oak or West Bloomfield, you're seeing a parade someplace. He said everything's nice. You're applying for jobs, you're not getting hired. There's all sorts of conflict with law enforcement in the neighborhood. And he said after a while, it just gets to you. He said an example, I'm having problems with my wife. We're separated. I get pulled over by a white cop, and he's just talking down to me, and it kind of escalated. He didn't end up getting arrested, but I knew exactly what he was talking about. And unless you've been there and you saw it from that perspective, now a dummy that doesn't know all these things, it's like, well, you know what? Just comply and you won't have these problems. But until you get out there, it doesn't matter if you get the true story or not, because there's a lot of people out there that don't want to hear it. They don't. They don't want to hear the true story because it disrupts their agenda. But he really convinced me of another area that never occurred to me before from his perspective. He said he'd go into like stores and like all of a sudden they're following him around like he's going to steal. Those kind of things. Does that happen to you if you're white and you're in West Bloomfield? Probably not. As a matter of fact, a lot of these boosters, these people out there that have drug issues, they're smart. I mean, when you get caught shoplifting 3 times and you're in jail with other people that got caught there as well, you compare notes and you try and figure out how you got caught. I mean, there's some very high IQs out there amongst drug addicts. So, big time shoplifters, this is what they do. They don't go down to Southwest Detroit and shoplift. They're on your ass from the second you're in there to the second you leave. They'll be 1 inch behind you just waiting for you to put something in your purse. So what do the boosters do? They go out and they get dressed up and they have a nice handbag from like Saks Fifth Avenue or whatever, and they take a Uber or a Lyft out to West Bloomfield, Birmingham, Royal Oak, and they go into Whole Foods and they steal every damn package of filet mignon and crab legs that are in the place. And even if there's the slight chance of them suspecting without just catching you red-handed on film, in those more affluent areas, they don't want to offend a woman that's dressed nice. The last thing they want to do is come up and say, "Excuse me, ma'am, could I look in your bag?" They don't want to do that. So these boosters go to affluent areas, and it's a smart thing to do. And sometimes, even when they catch them, they don't want any controversy. It's like, give me those crab legs back. Now get the hell out of here and never come back. Yeah, right. Yep. Yep. But they're very resourceful and stuff, and that makes a lot of sense. They don't want to offend anybody, even when they think they stole them. So the next time you're within 35 miles of Detroit and there's no king crab legs, now you know why. And I'm sure at some point with loss prevention at the end of the year when they're crunching the numbers, it's like, how are we reordering crab legs, but we can't find any of them that went through the register or scanning system? Well, there you go. Bingo. Yeah. Well, you know how it is, Brian. Yeah, I mean, there's some super intelligent. We had a guy up here, Sarander. You can look it up. I told you the guy that worked at the place where I got my van worked on. He was a little short guy, like 5'2", wrestled in high school, Billy Badass. He was gonna kick everybody's ass and throw one punch and be the local legend. Well, Sarander had been in prison his whole life, and as it turns out, wanted to go back. So they got in a beef down at the local bar here about 4 years ago, and this Brett came up and pushed him, and Sarander pulled out a 45 and shot him right in the heart. And as it turns out, if you look back to Sarander, if you look at his lifestyle, you realize that this kid came from parents that weren't exactly good role models. Bottom line, he was the high school valedictorian. Smart guy, but just never was pointed in the right direction. So he will die in prison now. But it isn't because he's stupid. Yeah, hunger pains is true. Yeah, yep, you're right. But if you listen to some of the interviews, you'll see where, or you'll listen to where it's interesting to me on the movies and the books that some of these working girls have read. But once again, stereotyping. You know, you think you're out here, you're a heroin addict, you're on crack, you got sores all over your face, you don't shower, and you stereotype. It's like, why am I surprised? Because of the way they present themselves, and it's my own ignorance. But what I've learned over doing this so long is that I don't assume anything anymore. And when listen to Amanda, what she did as a young girl, she went and sang at Carnegie Hall. That's the one that was in a coma, that was beat up on a drug deal party thing gone bad. Becky was a well-known ice skater, figure skater in high school. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, it's not one size fits all. And like I said all along, you can have a drug issue and an alcohol issue, and you can still be a pretty good person. People say, well, what are you talking about? I don't do drugs, and, I don't do it. I just want to skip those kind of arguments because you get nowhere. These people just don't get it. But getting into that lifestyle and getting out of it, I don't think I could do it. I think going to college, doing the right thing, getting a good job, having a good relationship, getting a career isn't as hard as being a working girl with a drug addiction, being homeless for 10 years, and getting back into the normal. Once your early years are behind you, your 20s and your 30s, it's much different to get into a normal lifestyle than it is if you're 20 and you were lucky enough to have a mentor to point you in the right way. Age discrimination is alive and well. And even though they present themselves well sometimes, a lot of them didn't go to college. Not that that's everything. But the $50,000 question with the next working girl is, what the hell have you been doing the last 20 years? How do you answer that? They have huge gaps, which is why, and I hope it doesn't happen long term for Tassie, you end up becoming an indentured servant at a fast food place. You can be smart, you want to do the right thing, and they work you like a fucking slave for 50 or 60 hours a week, and you may progress up to like the manager of a hamburger place, working like a damn slave. Sherry's doing Sherry's doing well. I'm not talking to Sherry, but another moderator on here is. There's some people like you, Rita, and like Frisky that have done way more than I've ever done with regard to following up, not letting anybody know about it, and trying to mentor these people and at least give them some hope that, we're here for you to help you get right back on the track. I mean, I know it's not all good, and I know what Maddie and Gerald do, and I hope it changes. But I'm telling you, their life is a lot better, unrelated to drug funding money, than it was before nobody knew them. Like it or not, they like getting on there and interacting with people that give two shits about them. They do. They have Marguerite too. They have a Tassie. They have a social life now and respect from people that you would have never dreamed would have offered it to them. Yeah, Maddie and Gerald, I think it's just kind of the same. But I mean, look at it from my perspective. I mean, I tell you guys all the time, I know what sells on YouTube. And if that's what it was about, I would have interviewed Maddie every time I was down there. But it finally gets to the point where, what are we going to talk about? I mean, and that's exactly what it looks like. It's like if I was watching my interviews, I'd say, well, Tom, this is the 55th time you've interviewed Maddie, and she's still down there, and nothing has changed. Shouldn't you move on to a plan B? And I would agree with you. Yes, I should. Because what's left other than views? Nothing. Is Maddie's life getting better? No. So why would I keep going back to the well for any other reason other than to get more views? So I don't do it. See you later, M&J. Yeah, well, that's hard to do. In the old days, what you would do is you had a buddy like owned a business. I've done it for people in the past. I've done it for people. You know somebody that owns a company and you come up with a resume and you give them a copy of it and you make sure when they call that they talk to this guy because somebody else might not have the faintest idea what you're talking about. When they go to the personnel records and they see there's no file, they realize something's up. Usually you need a contact, or you can just file some kind of assumed name, DBA, and just say you were a independent contractor and that you did consulting. Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal with employers. You're 29 years old and the last thing you want is 4 years of no employment. It's like, well, what did you do? It's like, well, I cleaned out garages and I walked dogs. Yeah. Well, there's 10 people applying for that job that can show you where they worked. And when you're hiring, it's a gamble at best. So you go with a person with more of a verifiable background. That's what it is, Jolene. Which Jamie crazy? Man, both Amandas are doing great. The one Amanda, the country, she just had a baby with Jason, who was down there himself and a heroin addict. They're both doing excellent. They have jobs, they're happy, and they had a new baby. The other Amanda also had a baby. She was working full time, away from drugs, and living in Ohio. Now, I know damn well that if I hunted them down and solicited them for an interview, it would people would want to watch. But I'm just happy to see them on their own and doing well, and I just don't feel comfortable doing it. I don't talk to Mind Blower Jamie. You know, one of these stalkers had got a hold of her, and before you know it, I was keeping her money, and I was a serial killer, and that she shouldn't have anything to do with me, and it just got to the point where I just cut her off. Didn't want her contacting me anymore. I contacted the people that had donated money through the chats, or they maybe sent some, and I said, hey, I'll bite the bullet and pay for the fee, and I can send it back to you, or you can tell me who else you'd like me to give it to. That's how I handled it. I'm in the same place with Sharon. I know that I have a couple things for her, but she's going to have to pick them up someplace because I don't want anything to do with her either. I wish her the best of luck, but I don't want to have any kind of relationship with her at all. Hey, Lauren. The Jamie number one, she had a baby too, but to be honest with you, I don't know if she's down there or not, to be honest with you. I've lost touch so much. I mean, it's so slow down there. I don't know what Jana's doing. I don't know really what Becky's up to. I mean, like I say all the time, no news is good news. I really don't know. I think Ginger's still down there, and I keep in touch with her mother, Kim. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Wendy, I don't know. Of course, Penny died. Angel died. Brittany died. Yeah, I don't know. I probably could, but let's put it this way. I'll put it this way to you. They know how to contact me. And I know that if push came to shove, I could contact Tassie, who Tassie has the respect of a deacon in the local church among the working girl and drug population in southwest Detroit. Everybody likes Tassie, from the cop on the beat to the party store owner to the old Johns to guys like me that have crossed paths with her. I know that if push comes to shove, I could get a hold of Tassie, and in an hour I could be talking to whoever I wanted to talk to. But I just get this vibe, and I could be wrong, that these people are tickled to death to be doing well And the last thing they want to do is talk to me about it when I was interviewing them at their worst. I could be wrong, but they know how to get a hold of me and they don't, and I can only assume that there's a good reason for that. Everybody likes Tassie. Yeah, phone numbers change a lot, and mainly what that's from is, you're in that area and it's not like middle class people that you've had the same Sprint phone number for 25 years. It's no surprise that they have financial issues and they spend a lot of money on drugs. So you're constantly getting your phone turned off. And those kind of phone programs, it's always prepaid cards, Boost, all these like second tier phone first problem. So you just can't pay your bill that cuts you off, or you don't have the number, that kind of thing. That's one problem. And another problem is you get high, you're nodding. Let's say if you're on a heroin addict, you've been up 3 days, you haven't been to sleep, you're taking crack too, and before you know it, your roomie or someone you just did threesomes with last week takes your phone. It's the nature of the beast. Nothing lasts long down there. And phones, you can always sell them to someone. That's why there's just every possible way to have things changed is so apparent in owning a cell phone as a working girl. For the reasons I just said, yeah, constantly changing. Yep. It's not like normal society. Who are you talking about, Jolene? Who would you like to talk to? Yeah, I can line you up with Tassie if you want. I could hook you up with Tassie. Tassie's it doesn't get any better. She's my gold standard. I brag about her all the time. Oh, okay. Yeah, Tassie's no nonsense bullshit. Yeah, I really like Tassie. I mean, that goes to show you brain chemistry. I can't think of what that girl went through out there doing that since she was a 15. Look up Tassie Mann, M-A-N-N. There's a photographer who was taking photos of her when she was 15, out working the streets in Detroit. She said he was a nice guy. But that goes to show your brain chemistry. A lot of people, that have been the end of them. A week in the life of Tassie. Not old Tassie, man. She comes out, you could dump her in the biggest vat of shit there is. And she'd come out smiling and said, hey, look, everybody knows what I did. I put it out there. If they don't like it, they can go be friends with somebody else. Excuse me while I go work double shifts at my 80-hour-a-week job. It was good talking to you, Tom, but I gotta go. How could you, not love that? Yeah, how could you not, love that? I mean, if you look back at my early interviews with Tassie, I didn't even know. I was just down there dicking around. I never thought anybody'd watch them. And you look how far we've come and stayed in contact, and it's meaningful. I didn't do anything really. I mean, I help her out a little bit if I can, but that's the least that I can do. The notion that she's still amongst the living is astounding. And not depressed. They could come out with every depression pill in the world, and Tassie would say, I'll pass. I don't need one. It's how your mind works. So even though she's experienced an early death of a mother from a heroin addiction, was an active working girl at 15. Can you imagine these people out there and what she must have went through? There were times I'd see Tassie in the pitch dark, get a car slow down, somebody get out, and it'd be Tassie getting out and just start walking down a dark alley by herself at 3 in the morning in a crime-infested neighborhood, looking for the next trick. And to talk to her now, it's like, wow, this is like next level success. Yeah. Oh yeah, she got robbed of her whole life. But here's the thing, it's human behavior. There are people out there that would have killed themselves by now, that would have endured 1% of what Tassie did. I mean, I'm telling you, man, my opinion, which is biased, her damn face ought to be on a $20 bill. See, but here's the thing, Jolene, it's not that we wouldn't like to help you, but it hasn't exactly been in the last few months a lot of fun dealing with some of these people that have got to know people through the channel. And I don't really want that happening anymore, and I really don't know what a plan B would be. That's what I say, Frisky. Where at in Michigan? Where? Where? Oh, Indiana? Okay. No, it's tough, man. It really is. It's like I couldn't do it. People, my critics think that, I think I'm better than them. I don't think that at all. I think they're better than me in a lot of ways. Because even though I'm in a better financial position, I don't think I have the mental turpitude to survive what they survived and just go on. It'd be too monumental. Wouldn't be worth it to me. I mean, if you took like mental behavior and you graded it and 100% was the best, with regard to what I just explained, I would put Tassie at like 92% of mental toughness and resiliency and the ability to bounce back. And I'd put myself at about like 35%. I think if I'd have just experienced 1% of her life, it probably would have been the end of me. I just could not get it together good enough to overcome what she's done. And that is what creates respect. She's got my utmost respect. She did. She did. Those were given up for adoption. Yep, they were. She has other kids that were not given up for adoption, but if you notice, my I don't think my role is to be a ball buster out there. They got enough problems. None of my business. Obviously, any mother isn't exactly going to want to brag of what's happened. Becky, too, you noticed I never bring that up. Oh, how are your kids? And that's another thing that ticks me off about Maddie. You know, who knows what goes through Maddie's mind? I know for sure because I keep in touch with some of Maddie's great friends before she got in that environment that love her and they've just given up on her. I just talked to one a couple weeks ago. You'll say, well, why would you do that? It's like, because look, I watch their things, their chat sometimes. I really like Maddie and I like Gerald. And to me, I think there's a part where it's probably going to alleviate my own guilt if she overdoses some night or gets cut up into little pieces. So when I think about this, for as long as I've known her, there gets to be a point where you better do something about this. You better at least get a hold of someone that knows her and just do your due diligence because if she dies and you're sitting around and you didn't do anything, it's like Christianity. With knowledge comes accountability. I know what's going on there. So what do I do? Just watch it till the day I die and say, well, it's not my problem, it's Maddie. It's a in between. It's like I can't make her get out of there. I hope that she does. But there comes to a point where I think I should just like do a little extra, and that's what I did. And you could say, well, you're just relieving your own conscience. Yeah, I would say that probably an element of truth to that. And when Maddie doesn't wake up some morning, I know that I contacted friends of hers and used what little connection I had to try to hope for a better plan B. So when I see people go on there and criticize her looks, don't you think Maddie knows what she looks like? It, I get defensive about it. Look, I don't like the idea of her getting drug money either. Yeah, all you can do is hope. And to be honest with you, I got an idea that's going to be a bad ending. I think it is. I mean, look at Brittany. She was in a coma for a month. Go back and look at the interview of Sweet Pea. Just a sweet, cute girl. Spoke Arabic. Penny. I could have jerked Angel out of the neighborhood and stuck her in a Fortune 500 company in marketing, and you would have never known the difference. And she'd have been making 100 grand a year. Becky has a lot of talent and skills. Yeah, that's all you can do is hope. Yeah. Well, I don't really think I do that much. You know, I'm limited, man. I mean, they know I would help them if I could. I mean, I don't know shit about it. You just learn as you go along. I mean, there was never any intention of me going down there and saving everybody. I never even thought that after a few interviews I'd even do it anymore. I was genuinely interested in how you got there, why you stay there, and do you need any help leaving? But I've realized in a lot of ways that was just one big pie in the sky. I was just like a little chicken dropped off in the middle of a typhoon. You know, I do have good intentions, but I just wasn't equipped, and the people that I was interacting with didn't want to do what I'd hoped for. What can I do about that? Look at Raven. And this shows you how mental health can affect you. You know, I don't feel as bad as you would think I would do for Raven, and I'll tell you why. Because I knew that was going to end that way. I did. Raven was the sweetest, kindest, prettiest girl you'd ever meet in your life. But I'd talk to her, and everything was always going to be tomorrow. But she was so broken mentally and been screwed and abused by foster parents and old perverts, relatives. I think that Raven died 5 years ago, and that getting hit by that car was just secondary to what already had occurred. She didn't care about herself anymore. She wanted to please me by sticking a carrot out there and give me a little hope that this would change someday. She had family that liked her, but in my heart of heart, I thought that you're never leaving here. And I was right, unfortunately. Yeah, that's true. You know, I have people tell me that. It's like, I don't even watch like me. You know, I said this, you know, hardly anybody that knows me, they don't even know I have a YouTube channel. Every year, about one or two people get a hold of me, and it's like, is that you on there talking? It's like, yeah, it is. It's like, why didn't you tell me you had a YouTube channel? It's like, well, I don't know. It just, you know. And even like with like Bobbles or stuff that she, you know, I know what gets views. No, I don't really give a shit about it. I really don't. She got a hold of me and was courteous enough to say, evidently there's some thing you got to do on YouTube when you're looking at somebody else's video. You got to pause it or some stuff. I don't know anything about it because I don't care. And she got a hold of me yesterday or the day before and said, hey, uh, do you want to, uh, you want me to, I said, no, man, do whatever you want. She said, well, I'll refer the people to your channel. Don't do that either. Take the whole damn thing and run with it. If there's something on there you like and you want to discuss it with people that come to your channel, have at it, man. You don't need to do that. I've told everybody from day one, do not go through me. Maddie and Gerald, Becky, anybody that was interested, I'll help you set up a channel. And good luck to you. Look what happened with Sharon. You know, I could have kept that all coming through me and every interview through me, and you didn't really know who Sharon was. Never wanted to do that at all. Yeah, I mean, I looked into that. I mean, what? I mean, I got a lot more research. I don't like podcast. Um, I don't want to like really have a, you know, if I play some music, I don't want to have it royalty free. It sucks. So every time I get in there and I research it, there's some major missing piece that just turns me off. I don't want to do StreamYard. I don't want to have like 5 people on there all. It's just, I want to have just like a legitimate old day call in radio talk show. Let me give you an example. The Electrifying Mojo that was in Detroit, Michigan. Go on YouTube, listen to some of his things. Alan Allman, J.P. McCarthy. That's what I want to do. I'm dating myself. I'm probably not a big market for it, but that's what I'm interested in doing. I've even looked, I'd like to find like a FM or a AM radio station that you could get like for, not crazy money. That way you could just like have a legitimate program where you don't need to listen to it 12 hours later. There's a pause for the songs or all this internet stuff. Even though it's cool, it's like cheesy when you try to pretend you're a real legitimate radio station because you're not. Even if you take a favorite radio station like WRIF in Detroit and you listen to it on your FM radio when you're driving, the internet version is nowhere near alike. It's always getting paused and this bullshit and it's tinny sounding and you got this, bot talking to you. If that's what I got to do, then I don't want to do it. I want to go back to old school. Just decent people talking about different subjects. A guy maybe raising chickens in Minot, North Dakota. A waitress struggling in Antler, North Dakota because of the COVID restrictions and that 90% of her business was from Canada and that since there was no necessary travel and no jobs, she slowly went broke over the last 19 months, even though she still got stimulus money. That kind of thing, that interests me. Yeah, I like NPR. I like that too. I really do. I think it's great. I like it. I do like NPR. Yep. That kind of thing. I don't want to like talk about Donald Trump and Governor Whitmer. I want to avoid politics. I want to talk to a guy that's run a saltwater aquarium pet shop in bumfucked Egypt. That just had Quince with his mail order bride because they were on a fertilization program that they spent their life savings to have children for, but they only were planning on one, and now they know they're not going to be able to afford 5, and what kind of dilemma that's going to offer. That's the kind of stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about the farmers out here that got into it when it was a noble, proud American thing to do. And now they're all in so goddamn deep, even though there's no money in it, you can't do anything else. You're in too deep. You got a tractor mortgage. You got this crazy weather. You can't afford irrigation. Every goddamn night you spend 20 minutes eating a handful of Prozac because you're afraid it's not going to rain for the next 30 days and you know you're fucked. The old adage up here, the corn, knee high by the 4th of July. If that corn isn't knee high by the 4th of July, you're fucked. And these people are fucked. It's about 4 inches tall. Those are the kind of people that I want to talk to. At least if you've got a shitty job and you get fired, you go on to another shitty job and you get fired, but you still got an apartment in your house. When you're in like farmers are in and you're in this deep, these people have been used and abused and tattooed. An example is dairy farmers. Farming community needs better representation. They need a couple Jews from New York City to take the bull by the horns and straighten this shit out. Goddamn gallon of milk is cheaper now than it was 30 years ago. There's no money in it. There's people out here that take a damn fire hose and dump their milk into the drain. Because they can't. Why fool with it all if you're losing money on every load? These kind of things interest me. PFAS, all this plastic in the water. No, yeah, that's it, Faye. That's exactly it. Yeah. You're just like, you're born into this like generations of farming, and they got you by the balls. Every morning you start work knowing that you're going to lose your ass. There's plenty of people up here that's happened to. See, like this nice farm I'm looking at now? All of a sudden, one day, all your shit's auctioned off, and you and your wife go get an apartment instead of looking out at land like this. And she gets a job at the dollar store, and you get a job at Home Depot with part-time hours at McDonald's. You're in your 60s, and you work like slaves till the day you die, even though you were the hardest working people you could provide an example of for the 40 years that you were in farming. It's this kind of stuff that interests me. There's such a gap between how this stuff's sold to us and what's really happening. This is a crisis. Yeah, it is. Yep. It's nuts. Yep, very fun, but it's for the love of it. It's for the love of it. Yep, on a berry farm. There's a couple that I never talked to them, but there's a couple times they've seen me uh, photographing foggy sunsets and stuff, and they always wave, and it looks like somebody that just got off a 2-month cruise ship. They wave, and the wife blows her horn. I've never talked to them, but they own a little farm up on North Fairview on the east side of the road, and they've got a little roadside stand. I'd like to interview them someday. And they've got honey out front, and you pick and honor system and all this horse shit. And I'm one thing I think, wow, really reminds me of the old days. This is really cool. And it's just, I guarantee you there's no money in it and that they both work other jobs. But it just looks like, it's right up there with Lake Wobegon stuff. It's like just a cute little country stand. And just like I thought when I got into the pet industry with birds, it's not like what I was thinking. I just happened to be flipping through TikTok the other night. I don't watch it that much anymore. I like more in-depth things, not a 90-second clip. And there was a super cute girl on there. That's a short shelf life. Really cute, great body, dark skin, just great personality. And her spiel was that she just got off dancing, and she went into the whole pricing deal. They're considered independent contractors. They pay to topless dance, and then you could get like 3 dances for 100, 6 dances for 250. It all the way went up to $2,000 for the couch upstairs, and God knows what goes on there. Really a nice, personable girl, and she counted out the money that she made for that night, and she explained why she had $100 bills, and that was from the couch and the 6 dance special, and why she had ones and when you got it was pretty interesting, really. And she counted out for a 5-hour shift. She had made $2,200 in cash. And that was after paying whatever they charge her as an independent contractor to strip. And I thought to myself, you poor thing. That's the worst thing that could have happened to you. Because you're just too young to get it. And even though you think this is good, what really would have worked better for you is that the first night you were there, someone stole your purse and kicked you in the ass in the middle of one of your dances and told you to get the fuck out of here and never come back. That's what would have worked for you. Could you convince her of that? No. But I'm thinking this cute, pretty young girl with a short shelf life. That's talk about biting the poison apple. $2,200 while her mother and father are working like goddamn dogs. They're not making that in a 2-week period. This is how so many things are set up. Yeah, that's it. Yep. It is $400 per hour, but that's all people are thinking. Me too. But you're thinking of this girl. That's how it got Raven. That's what got Raven. Had a couple perverted, abusive foster care homes, a couple perverted relatives. Was making a killing, topless dancing, and then got in a car accident and her front teeth were knocked out. Well, they don't want you there then. And before you know it, you've developed a drug habit and you need money for drugs, and you know what the next thing up is. And that's what happened to her. Before you know it, you're in so deep, you know, everything's just spiraled out of control. That's what got her. And you could have never told Raven this, and you're never going to be able to tell this cute young girl this. But long term, they'd be better off working for minimum wage at a dollar store. Long term. But the light bulb never comes on. They're all driving new Chargers and ordering whatever the hell they feel like off Amazon. They think, man, this is great. Why in the hell would I be going down there working at the gas station for $10.50 an hour when I can make this in one night? You see what I mean? And that's what traps these people. You say, what do you mean trap? I mean, she's of adult age. She went down there. Nobody's trapping her. She could leave any day she wants. Doesn't work that way. That's exactly it, Jolene. Yep. Yeah, porn stars. That's the thing about porn, It's like, do you ever see anybody running seminars, going around and getting big crowds to show up? They come into your town for everything. Do you have any good antiques? Do you have life insurance? Do you need a medical marijuana card? You got these traveling carnies all over the country hawking different kinds of bullshit. They come in and they run a full page ads and it's on TV. Before you know it, you're down at the local Holiday Inn trying to figure out how you're going to make $900 a day part time. You get set up on these kind of things, and these people get bamboozled into thinking it's the way, and it's not. And the only people that realize it for sure is someone like me that's had 40 years to observe these things. I'm just some big old stupid old guy that hasn't kept up with tradition. Yeah. Hey, Patricia. And on the sex thing, I mean, like I tell you all the time, let's say you have an old pervert that made a lot of money, and you had a young, cute girl, and they struck a deal where she could live the life of Riley, not have to work, not do shit. They have kids, have nannies, and she's a materialistic type person, so she's driving a new Beamer, and they travel wherever they want, and they own their own airplane, this kind of bullshit. But that's really selling out. But you're never going to be able to tell these people that. It's unfortunate. Yeah, it's a terrible lifestyle. Yep. But my point here is if that happened, right? You got a 50-year-old guy and a 20-year-old girl, and everybody thinks this is a little odd. I mean, what in the hell would she see in him? I'll tell you what she saw in him: lifestyle. And let's say he's banging her 35 times every day. And you're thinking, well, this is a little odd, but you're not saying anything because they are married and they do seem happy. Well, when you get a working girl out there and she's having sex half as much as this young girl sold out for to marry this old rich pervert, you're all over her ass. You're a prostitute, a slut, what are you doing? Let me tell you, vagina doesn't know whether it's getting paid or not. That goddamn thing will be around for 50 years either way. So this notion that because they're charging for it and it's somehow worse than the young bimbo that sold out for a lifestyle just ticks me the fuck off. People don't know what they're talking about. There are girls out there giving it away for free under the ruse of a happy marriage. Yeah. No, I know you. You know why, Jolene? Because you're desperate. That's why. And this is how all these traps are set. You're desperate. Which I'm not knocking you, but I get it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep. And in a weird, twisted, convoluted way, guys are at an advantage because they don't have anything to sell. It forces them to shine shoes or get their CDL or work like a slave. They don't have anything to sell. I don't get it. I don't get it, Frisky. No, it's a mystery to me. Oh, until I start to think on how we've been sold this bullshit. But my point was, I talk about these companies that go around with these different shticks on how you're going to make money. You don't see anybody going around at big towns telling people that, for $350, we're going to show you how to be a successful porn star. You don't. It's just kind of one of these things that people kind of get into. But why? Because it's the road to nowhere. That's why. It's another trap. I watch it. I'm not proud of it. But anybody that's ever asked me about stripping or escorting, or I've recommended against it. Why? Because I know what the outcome is. Go on porn. I do it myself sometimes. Go look up Shauna Grant as an example. Go on YouTube or Google and look up ex-porn stars. Linda Lovelace, Marilyn Chambers, Seika. They led shitty, depressing, lonely lives. And why would I recommend that to anybody? I'm sure there was a time in it where things were just... Look at Tracy Lords. They strung her along. She even had an endorsement from Hollywood for a while that made it worse. Look at Hugh Hefner. Did you ever see Christie in Playboy? Fuck, no you didn't. Did you ever see Larry Flint's daughter or his wife in Hustler? No way. Why? Because they knew better. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just an all-American girl strip. And why wasn't Christie Hefner in the centerfold? It would have sold 1 billion copies, whether she was good looking or not, because he knew the difference. And that's the problem I have with it. I tell women sometimes, like, look, you know what? You need someone that's you can count on. Not some guy that's going to be trying to hit you up for head and giving you $500 for a blowjob. You need friends. I'm sorry you don't have any. That's fucked up. But even, I don't think that these problems go away when it becomes legal. Look, in this culture, the point is, it's not a happy, fulfilling life. Do you see any full-time working prostitute doing a TED Talk? And there's different levels of getting used. My primary example is Monica Lewinsky. I actually feel super sorry for her. Now you're going to say, well, she didn't have to do it. Well, yeah, I get all that. Yep, right. But she got set up psychologically. And that system ate her a fucking life. That ruined her life. Oh, that's interesting. I believe that, Virgil. I believe that. Yeah. Yep, Marilyn Chambers. Yeah, well, in a philosophical way, these all seem like great things to do. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Believe in yourself. You are number one. That all looks great on paper. It's the same reason why everybody on the chat doesn't get up and do 100 sit-ups in the morning before they start their day. Everybody knows it'd be good for you and it's the right thing to do. And that's kind of how it is for people like Jolene. She's been broken down and busted, and she's getting older, and she's painted herself into a corner. No, I get it. I get it, Jolene. Now, where did you say you're living? Where did you say you're living, Jolene? Yeah, that's exactly it, Frisky. If people could accept themselves, fix themselves, they would. That's no shit. So, what is your main problem right now? What is it you need? What's the big main issue that you're struggling with? What is it you need? Yeah, well, good for you, CJ. But I mean, it's hard enough to have relationships anyway. And when you throw abuse into the mix, my God, that. How did that work out for you? That relationship? Oh, that's good. Well, you get a hold of me with your phone number. Will you guys type up my email address? You send me your phone number. You're not from Indiana, are you? Oh, hell yeah, it's easier said than done. Yeah, thank you, Faye. Yeah, it's true, Lauren. Yeah, Clinton Township. Okay. Well, at least you got out of Detroit. That's a start. Yeah, you know what I mean, Mary? Hey, 4Q, how you doing? Well, I see it. You know, when I'm on this chat and I'm on a phone, if you guys, I don't know what you guys are looking at, but I'm looking around, looking at the traffic, and there's only like 4 lines of comments, and if like a bunch of people type at once, I do miss things. Yeah, I mean, you got to get set up to where you're not in a position to be able to live in a place where you have to provide your own transportation for employment. That's another problem with Detroit, by the way. You can look this up for yourself. They wonder why they couldn't get help in Detroit before COVID. You know why? Because you're working for some $10.50, and it's taking you 3.5 hours to go 20 miles on their shitty public transportation system. So 6.5 hours a day are spent exposing yourself to COVID on a city bus while you're making 10.50 an hour. The whole day's shot, not because of the time you worked, but because of the time it took you to get to and from work. Who wants to go through all that horse shit? All right, Jolene. No, it is. Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah. Well, you could see this coming, though. I mean, anybody using gas. Look, I understand it's a finite supply. I don't blame their, uh, looking for a plan B, but this electric car deal is way off in the future to be practical. Sounds good on paper, but the reality of it is we're a spoiled country with a terrible infrastructure for travel, and they've got us hooked on this goddamn gasoline. You guys get guys like George Soros, who's got a bullseye on everybody's back. He's already wiped out all the cab companies. Now he wants to extinguish and end cars that use gasoline. Yeah, he didn't want you owning a car. He wants you driving electric, some goddamn thing that you park under the sun, and you drive Uber and Lyft and all these other places. Yeah, it is, Conan. Yeah, I hate to say this, and things are looking good. I know I'm going to be on the receiving end of this. 3.19 a gallon now. Went almost up almost 38% in 1 year. I could see it coming. No, that's true, Lauren. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just nuts. I'm feeling a lot better. I didn't feel good last night from about 10 o'clock till 6 in the morning, but I'm feeling a lot better now. I only feel half dead. Here's the thing. I mean, we could discuss this forever, and I don't know that it's going to get us anywhere. I mean, here they talk about, they got all these think tanks. The University of Michigan has this social research bullshit, and all these colleges too. I mean, where else are you going to go other than an academic institution? You get these grants to do studies. You got Wayne State, all these colleges around Detroit, but primarily Michigan State, or University of Michigan, which is a world recognized institution. It really is. You got all these people that are privy to all this data and this research and this money. What in the hell are they doing? I mean, we know why people got there and why they can't get out. But isn't it about time somebody came up with some kind of solution? You can go get your undergraduate degree and your graduate degree at the University of Michigan in social work and social justice and anthropology, whatever interests you, and spend 35 years and get nowhere. We get all these resources. I mean, if it was any other venue, whether it was a job, a vacation, a relationship, if you had those dismal, shitty results, it wouldn't last because it would be considered unproductive. So, is there anybody out there that wants to make these fucktards accountable? Yeah, we know about drugs and we know about poverty and we know about the haves and the have-nots. How about coming up with something that you can prove to us? Yeah, all these great ideas. It's all theoretical. No, I get sick of it. And every year, about once a year, the University of Michigan will pack up a bunch of kids that had great ACT scores, that got good grades, that are going to the University of Michigan. They drive their own car, they don't work, they travel back and forth to wherever they live until they graduate. They have a nice lifestyle despite going to college. And once a year, some alumni charter a bus and they all go down to the west side of Detroit or the southwest side of Detroit, and they go into the poverty-stricken neighborhoods and they pick up the garbage and they all agree this is terrible, and they feel really good about themselves that backyard with two junk cars upside down is no longer there. They shake hands, they shed a few tears, they go back to Ann Arbor, and you never hear from them again. But they feel really good about themselves and they really think they're helping. Hey, Michael. Well, I would have really thought, well, it's picking up now, there'd be much more traffic southbound. Yeah, preach to the rest of us. That's exactly right. Tell us what we should be doing. same with Nancy Reagan's war on drugs. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Hollywood. We need to do more as they all pull into their $13 million home with 14 Ferraris in there because they made a famous movie 30 years ago. That's exactly it, Louise. Yep. So true. Yep. Yeah, you're right. And then people wonder why people turn to alcohol and drugs. I don't wonder that. That's exactly it, Donald. Yep. You need to bike to work. That's exactly it. You need to show more empathy. Yeah. Who is leaving? Is it Mamma Mia? Is she leaving? No, that's exactly right. Just say no. That's exact. I know. It's insulting. Just say no. Well, there's always something in it for them. You notice these people that are these do-gooders, there's always a camera rolling. I can remember during Hurricane Katrina when they were stealing all the big screen TVs out of the stores and looting during the hurricane. And Larry King had Celine Dion on, and she was crying crocodile tears. And he asked her, "What are you crying about?" And she said she was happy to see those people in those neighborhoods stealing those TVs because it was the first time in their life that they were ever going to own anything that was nice. Yeah, it does. Hopelessness. Hopelessness. Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. Oh, Zilili? What the hell is that? Zilili? Yeah, when they were trying to save them down there in the Red Cross helicopter, they were shooting at it. Oh, a shopping app. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's great. You're getting a good deal on your boots, but don't be bitching because there aren't any local stores within driving distance. They need to come up with a software app, and you're going out there and you're looking for your boots, and it pops up and it says, "Mary, these boots are available from your local retailer for $99, or you can get them from Amazon for $49. Pick your poison." There's a big consequence for getting things at the lowest rate to the people that sell them. That's why I buy books at Barnes and Noble. Not because I couldn't get a better deal someplace else, but I know if I'm going to go in there and take out 10 books and spill my coffee on half of them and not put them back and buy everything on Amazon, that eventually me and people just like me will force them out of business because we never bought anything there because it was more than we could have got it someplace else. I don't do that kind of bullshit. I tell people all the time, they're so desperate for business. I did it with my tires before I headed out to Hilton Head. Small place, one man band. Everybody knows you can get tires anywhere cheaper than there. And the guy said, "Well, let me look and see if there I can get you that." I said, "I don't want a goddamn deal. I want to pay full price happily." And I do with small business. And I'm sure, oh, well, I think I paid about $110 more than I could have got them through Walmart or fucking Costco, or got them mailed to me even though they weighed 500 pounds each through Amazon. You can't have it both ways. Bye, Rita. No, they don't, Lauren. Right. They pay them. They figured out they're geniuses. They pay them only enough to get them to show up for their shift. That's what they pay them. See you, Rita. Fucking world's nuts, man. I was just talking to another guy my age this morning. He's a horse trainer and a dog trainer, and ran into him over at the boat ramp. There's a guy that works for the state that's 81 that's still, he cleans like that area where I take Daisy swimming. We all think exactly alike, and it's just such a pleasure to have a old school conversation with two people at the same time that aren't crazy, that realize the world's going to hell in a handbasket. And every guy I ask, including Frederick on a chat last night, back 40 years ago, when you ran into an older person that had a good life, they wanted to live longer. They were going to miss not being around. They worked hard and they did the right thing. And it was sad to them that they were maybe only lived 10, 15 years or whatever more. Ask a guy my age now if he'd like to live to 110, even if health was good. Fuck no is the answer. Well, I mean, I do defend capitalism a lot, but only in the strictest sense of the word, that's what got us here. But it's like, a car with a flat tire now. The same rules don't apply. I don't have a problem with people making a profit. She's in the back sleeping. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, little bookstores, yeah. Yep. I wasn't always like this. And I was probably the light bulb came on much later than it should have. But you just end up being around a while and you start witnessing, you put two and two together. No, I take her everywhere. Hey, Frank. Yep. Yeah, Day's a great dog. I'll tell you what I find ironic is that malls, are closing left and right. And guess who's buying the malls for distribution centers? Amazon. The same people that put a thorn in their side. Yeah, it's a great view, man. Love this view. I come up here all the time. I realize people say, why don't I move someplace else? Well, here's why. This view. It's just one of the many reasons I don't. I don't worry about someone pulling up and robbing me. I don't think if my car breaks down, all the tires are going to be gone when I get back. My doors aren't locked. That's why. And how do you put a dollar amount on that? I don't have to live in a gated neighborhood because the people that live here are civilized. Yeah, no crowds. Yep. Yeah, even places like this now are going to start changing. I noticed the housing market and stuff's going up. It's still a good deal. But, this bullshit disappearing of the middle class is creeping its way up here. The reason it hasn't happened quicker is because there aren't any jobs here. Just $10 an hour jobs. That's why. Shit, up until lately, you could have a $10 job and have a decent car, a decent school. But now the price of these homes are keep going up because people are getting out of crazy expensive areas to live up in places like this. No, it's only 2.5 miles from my home. If you Google Earth it, you can see that lake I go to, which is right down the road. This is exit 212 in Michigan, I-75. You'll see that new metal roof on that barn. They just built that a couple years ago. And you'll see Walgreens. I live right behind Walgreens. Yeah. No, it's nice up here. Yeah, super green. Yep. But I'm telling you, things are still not back now. The southbound traffic, the ones going from heading to my left, that should be way busier. I mean, it is busy, but it's nothing like the old days. Maybe 3.19 a gallon is doing it. I don't know. Yeah, Target $15 an hour. I mean, that helps. But the only reason they're paying what they have to pay now to get someone to show up to work. They don't want to. You know, as I've said, the guy that owns this McDonald's franchise now, it's gotten to the point now where your labor rate is going to have to be so high. McDonald's used to be a place where kids would get some experience, they'd learn responsibility, they'd understand how capitalism works, and they'd go on to college and put McDonald's on their resume. That's not how it is anymore. This is all adults working there. There aren't any jobs for teens because there's no jobs around. It's different now. But when you own a fast food franchise and your business model is set up like I just explained to you the old days, and you've got to pay 15 and $17 an hour with a $5,000 sign-on bonus if you promise to work the end of the summer, there goes all the money in it. It's getting to the point now that so many business models are set up like fast food and these farmers that why mess with it? There's no money. Capitalism and profit is what motivated this country up until about the last 15 years ago. Now they got a target on its back. You're a villain if you make money. And then this COVID, I mean, I can't imagine anything worse than that. You know, when a country invades you and they're bombing you and things are going to hell, that makes sense. God, we've just been invaded. This is terrible. But this goddamn COVID shit just kind of slipped up and it ended up being worse than a bunch of fighter jets with bombs getting dropped in your neighborhood. It absolutely killed the economy. Just like 9/11. That bin Laden, who everybody knows was a motherfucker, it was a pleasure to see him jerked out of his own home and murdered right in front of his wife. But he realized that his disdain for the United States, he would get the biggest bang for his buck if he got to ruin our economy. And he was right. I'll tell you another thing I've noticed too. I'm happy because I know what a big scam it is. But I haven't seen any emergency helicopters coming up here lately. Not in a long time. You know, it's quiet. You can hear them. I can see them coming in to where they're going to land. I haven't seen them in months. Oh, what is Carly talking about? Yeah, drama free is not easy to do. All you can do is Boink them out of here the second you get. Yeah, there's no proof of that, Brian. China owned us anyway before COVID. And they had people dropping like flies themselves. I doubt if that was the plan that so many of their own citizens would have died from it. Although they are into population control. It doesn't make sense politically because this COVID has ruined the whole goddamn earth. Temporarily, anyway. This is a big hill to climb and get back in to the old days. So it's hard to say when every damn country in the world is dropping like flies that they were against all sorts of agendas and political affiliations, that that's what it was. I mean, when you got people kicking over from COVID and bumfucked Egypt with no military and no jobs and nobody gives a shit what goes on there, that speaks volumes. There's no logical motive to think that someone would want to do that to a place that doesn't count. I haven't read on that Agenda 21. I know about it. I kind of, that stuff I don't read too much about. Same with like that Illuminati stuff. This is a nice day today. Oh, really? Yeah, they're dropping like flies. Yeah. Yeah, it's so damn hard. You can't, they got this so dumbed down. You don't even like, you can't even get pointed in the right direction to figure this out. But it's like I say, it's how things sold you. Like everybody comes on here and they comments, what a nice view. Yeah, I'd agree with you. It's a nice view, but you know what? It isn't as it appears. They're all living on a shoestring and in debt and couldn't change it if they wanted to. These farmers, they got them by the balls. That guy in that new house could be in there playing Russian roulette now, trying to figure out how he's going to make his next mortgage payment. But yet we're sitting up here thinking that, you named all the chickens and you're producing food for mankind and it's a Hallmark movie where he's eating Prozac by the handful. I don't think it's going to be, no. Yeah, Dylan, I have, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Then they wonder why people are high and drunk. I notice I drink less when I watch less news. I mean, I think if the world was like I'd like it to be, I'd probably never drink. It's not like I'm getting trashed every time I drink, but I think if it was like the way I'd like to have it, I probably wouldn't drink. But you notice when you look at this fucking... You thirsty, honey? You look at this goddamn clusterfuck that seems like when you have 3 shots of Ardbeg 10, that you feel a lot better than when you didn't. Where's your water dish, hon? Where's your water dish, hon? You want drinky? You thirsty? Daisy's thirsty. You want drinky, honey? I'll get you drinky. I'll get you drinky. No, they'll need to. I think down the road you're going to see booster shots. Good girl, hon. A Twinkie? Good girl, honey. Good girl. I look at these working girls that I meet. I kind of look at them the same way I do Daisy. Just innocent. And without intervention, they're not capable of navigating their way out of harm's way. You know, I think it's probably around 82. But there's a little breeze, and I like this overcast. As far as I'm concerned, if I never saw another sunny day in the summer, I'd be fine with it. So much cooler when the sun's not like out shining, broiling your ass. Yeah, it's funny, you know, like an hour ago I could have offered her the same water, even though she slept from now till then, and she wouldn't have wanted it then, and now she wanted it now. It's interesting how that, you know, like a feeding response, it happens with water. I don't quite understand it. There'll be times when it'll be hotter than a bitch. She'll be panting, and I'll pour her a bowl of water, and she doesn't want. I can't quite get this. Oh, 67? Wow. It's 98. Oh my God. That's exactly what I don't want. I'll tell you one thing though, you know, in the United States, it's not perfect, and there's certainly plenty of issues. But I'll tell you, for the government to come up and get these vaccines out like they did with those kind of numbers is mind-boggling. For me to just go on a website and sign up and walk over to the local drugstore and get a complex, super expensive vaccine like that for free makes me proud to be an American. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. And they did it. Simka, are you still on vacation? Are you back in the heat box? Well, it's been in a pipeline for a long time. They were working on it anyway. I mean, you got some heavy duty, you know, super sharp people behind the scenes. Oh, 99. I don't know how you stand living out there, Frank. What do you just, do you like the heat, or you just, you have it in the winter when I don't? How do you how do you put up with that? Oh, good for you. Oh, July. Oh, good for you. Good. Did you decide if you're going to pull the trigger on moving or not? Yeah, she was thirsty. She didn't want to drink though 45 minutes ago. So weird. Yeah, you're right, Dylan. Yeah. Yep, you're right. Yeah, no, the Dust Bowl. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, you never will be, Simca. You never will be. I've done this a few times. Nope. 100% will never happen. No, that's something to consider. Yeah, definitely something to consider. Personally, I don't really care for the mountains. I mean, they're okay, but I wouldn't want to put up with all that bullshit in the winter. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you can't see because the sun's down. I don't like them. I like to visit them, but I don't want to live in them. Oh, that's a good day, Lynn. I mean, I like going down to Appalachia, Colorado, Banff, Jasper, but I don't want to live there. Yeah, I have been to the Ozarks, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I like other places better. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really care for like the Branson, Missouri area and that kind of stuff. Like I said, if I never went to California again, it'd be too soon. Oh, okay, Frank. Yeah, no, you're right. Yep, that's exactly right. So when you look at the practicality of living there, that changes things. Yeah, nobody will argue against the views are spectacular. But when you need a loaf of bread and you want to go eat and you get some freezing rain or that view goes out the window. Now you got a death grip on your steering wheel both ways. But in Florida, as long as your air conditioning is working, you're cool. Yeah, when I got my place in Chicago, it faced it south, and I was in the near north neighborhood, just on the fringe of the Gold Coast. And those, were considered the best views of downtown Chicago. When I got that place, I thought, I can't believe I'm living here, man. This is my dream. And it was for about a year and a half. And then it's like anything else, you get tired of it. No, yeah, that's a consideration to make, Simca. Yeah, it really is. Yep. If you don't want to go somewhere because of those conditions, that's a big negative. Yeah. Yeah, I've been all over Canada. I love Canada. Yep. Yeah, Chicago is. Yeah. Well, the south side and the west side, it gets a lot of media attention. And like the Magnificent Mile, that's kind of falling apart too. Boarded up windows and here's the thing too about that, Frank, is Chicago, much of their golden egg was based on retail, shopping. And now with this internet stuff, you know, too many pieces of the pie are missing. Back in the day when you had to go to a store to get whatever it is you wanted, yeah, I mean, who cares what it cost, right? But those days are over. You look at these big giant box stores like are out of business now because they can't afford rent on places that were established over, premier areas to shop. They're dropping like flies. That was going on before I left. There's kind of a famous shopping plaza, it's small. It's called the Water Tower in Chicago. Crazy per square feet. I think it was $119 a square foot when I left. But that was already starting to fall apart. These malls are experts at making look like taking a place that went out of business and making it look like a mural. Because nobody wants to go into a place that looks half full. It just looks dumpy. Dope, yeah. Oh, do you, Conan? Okay, that's cool. Yeah, Chicagoland was cool. I don't miss that traffic though, I'll tell you that. But it's got a lot to offer. It's a legit world-class city. Yeah, I would agree with that, Kevin. That mayor's nuts. So is that crazy mayor out in Eugene, Oregon. Hey, Shannon. Yep. Oh, you're lucky, Cola Bear. You're lucky. Man, I've been chasing storms since early March. Struck out on every damn one of them. Yeah, like last night, I went down to Pinconning. Uh, there were some big storms out in the distance. Not super big, but good enough. They all kind of petered out as the cooler air came in. Yeah, but nah, yeah, it is. I kind of like that about it, though. I do. And that's also why I go to Las Vegas sometimes. I like to just get lost out there and not know anybody. I don't want my neighbor coming over for a cup of sugar or, want me to come eat hot dogs every time they're out. You know the old adage, good fences make good neighbors. Count me in. Yeah, you'd think in a condo like that, I don't know what we had, 300 and something units. You kind of get to know people over a 10-year period in the elevator. A lot of people coming and going, though. Young couples come down there, they think they're going to be going to the Art Institute every day till the day they die. I thought the same thing when I moved to Florida. It's just going to be pina coladas and sleeping in. Boy, was I wrong. Oh, 88. Cincinnati is one of the prettier cities at night. Really is. So is Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, I don't mind neighbors, but I don't want to be like getting together with them. No, those Dollar Generals, I see those things everywhere. Those were shopaholics. I'm sure that business model has gotten much better because when Trump had pissed off China, all of a sudden things that you were getting for 25 cents for your dollar store were $1.25. So I don't know if it's went back to normal for them or not. Yeah, Shannon, that's an honest answer. I would say Montana and Kentucky. I would say Montana and Kentucky. I really would. Lexington, Kentucky is like got everything to me. And Louisville is awesome. And I love Montana. And even though I love, they're different. It's different kinds of niceness. Montana, I love being out there, but I think I'd go crazy. Havre, Montana, Havre. Love it, man. When I'm there, I'm just such a good mood. And I could stay inside the whole town for a month and never run out of things to do, checking out this and checking out that. But to live there, I think I'd commit Harry Carey. I've realized over the years, fucking up left and right, doing things that I thought I'd like, that I found. You learn a lot about yourself. And I've realized that I want to live in an inexpensive place that doesn't have nosy neighbors, that's safe, that's within an hour of good restaurants, and a Barnes and Noble, a bookstore. I don't want to go up to a tourist trap bookstore. I want to go into a Barnes and Noble. Yeah, I love Lexington. Yeah, I need to be around a city that's about 100,000 population within an hour. I mean, I love it when I go up to Sault Ste. Marie, Mackinac, up where Leelanau, where Mary lives. But I think I'd kill myself if I had to live there all year long. I mean, I love the outdoors and the wildlife and doing this. but not in lieu of culture in places like Best Buy and Barnes and Noble. Hey, Dolly. Yeah, this is like a perfect place for me. You know, when you get bored with things, though, your mind starts making you think it's things that it's not. I know my problems between the ears. I mean, you could have beautiful women suntanning on the top of that silo, winking at me and motioning me to come over there, and I'd get tired of that after a while. Familiarity breeds contempt. That's no shit. Oh, thank you, Carly. I don't think I really am, though, man. I got kind of a temper. It's nothing like it used to be, but I still do. I just get crazy over stupid shit. But it's not stupid to me, it's important. I mean, if you're going to fuck me over, I want you to do it for the right reasons. And when it's not, that's the kind of stuff that drives me nuts. As Mary knows. I mean, if you don't, like my tennis shoes, it's up to you. But if you make up a reason not to have me there and it has nothing to do with what you told people, I got a big problem with that. Well, I'm lucky to be able to do. I'm not recommending speaking your mind. I mean, there's a fine line between just being a big loudmouth and having tact and etiquette. So I probably overdo it sometimes, but I, and the reason I'm able to do this is because I'm not applying for a job. I'm not on Match.com. I'm not running for a political office, and I don't want anything from anybody. Not trying to bang your wife or talk your daughter into porn. So in that position, I can afford to say it. I could be 100% wrong on everything I say, believe me. I tell people that all the time, man. I tell people it isn't some great right you have to come on, talk, and have interaction on this chat. I don't think it's a big deal. You're a moderator. I do it because I need them and they're good jobs, but I don't, it's no power trip for me to block somebody or not get along. I'd rather not. I'd rather get along with people that not, and I'm willing to concede on certain things to make that happen. Oh, okay, Lynn. Lynn, when's the last time you were at Faneuil Hall? How long ago was the last time you went there? I mean, there's been times that I thought, well, I'll just experience something new, and I was thinking of buying a gas station up in Sault Ste. Marie. Man, am I glad that I didn't. I've already fucked up before with a bed and breakfast, breeding camels, dromedary, the single hump, and tropical birds. I had an aerial photography business. So I realized, like, until you get there, you don't know what it's going to be like. Oh, okay. I'm just wondering if you can go over there now and if all that seafood's still hanging around or it's not because of COVID and what they get for a lobster sandwich. It's got to be like $23 or something now by now. Yeah, Shannon, that's true. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it takes time. Yeah, they're ornery. They used them in the Civil War for a while, but I mean, if you have a camel, every day is starting over. They are ornery as hell. Yeah, sometimes it's just not possible. That's exactly right. Yeah, you're right about that. Yep. Yeah, I tried, yeah. But that's one good thing up here. Like, I'm not chomping at the bit to leave. I think I'll probably, this is the end of the road for me. Hey, Stacy. No, that's not cool, Shannon. They're ignorant. Yeah. I lived in Detroit for a while before I got married, and it was because I wanted to experience it. Kind of a crappy neighborhood. And you know those parks like a Willow Park? I used to take groups of kids from that area and take them to. That's before everybody thought you were a pervert. And I would take kids, like 5 or 6 kids from that area, and I'd take them to Willow Park to go swimming. Nice built-in pools. They'd never been in a built-in pool before. They would have more damn fun. None of them could swim. They were always so scared when they first got in the pool. But it was just fun to witness them have so much damn fun. When I was living in an apartment, I had just graduated from college, and there was a girl from up in the UP that was a single parent. They had two of the cutest kids in the world. One was 4 and like one was 6. And she was always dating and, out looking for some love of her life. And there were times when she'd give me these kids, and I had a good time doing it. And I'd take them to breakfast, and I'd maybe take them shopping or, let them watch TV until she got back. And I never thought a thing of it. And I think back and I look at that now. I mean, there ain't no way in hell that would happen. Now, I wouldn't do it even if she asked me. But you didn't think anything of it. They were kids. I didn't have any. They were cute. They were having a good time. It's only just a fun time that when you're buying them things and taking them to do fun things. But it was fun. But yeah, it's just not like that anymore. Good old days. Yeah, it's true. Oh, really? Yeah, I believe that. But there's a chance that these kids are being exposed to a better life for the time they're under Shannon's care. It's possible. Yep. Yeah, it makes sense, Stacy. Yeah, yep. You want to go out and go pee pee? Feeling good? I see nobody won the Lotto 47, so if you live in Michigan, even if you don't, you can go online. I think the jackpot's 13 million. Oh, are you, Stacy? Okay. Yeah, but even George W. Bush, even if you were a Democrat, him and his wife garnered a lot of respect. I mean, I thought Jimmy Carter was a terrible president, but as an individual, I'd have been happy to have him as my neighbor, his wife too. And it just seems like that's not around any longer. You're either voting for a total crazy psychopath or someone just a little bit worse. It's not like two good guys that you differ with from an ideological perspective. It's like Dumb and Dumber. I can't believe these are our choices. Whatever happened to not copying speeches and not getting busted having affairs and not going bankrupt? I mean, what's going on here? One thing I'm a little confused on this Suboxone. Sometimes I think I understand it, and then I'll read something like that one girl I interviewed. I uploaded a video about a week ago. Can you get high off Suboxone or not? You getting hot, huh? Good luck, Allison. Oh, okay. Oh, you can, huh? So what is it? Just the dosage that's the difference between maintaining yourself and getting high? Oh, okay, Richard. Oh, okay. Now, Shannon, when you were doing your drug habit there, were you like some of the women that I interviewed, or did you just have a drug habit and find out a different way to fund it? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to. Yeah, I don't know anything about it either. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, Richard. Oh, okay, Shannon. Oh, okay, Stacy. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to sign off here, guys. Daisy just started panning. It's still not, it's coming up on the hottest time of the day pretty soon. So I think I'll take her swimming and get something to eat. So I hope you guys have a good day today. It's a great chat. You never know, particularly during the daytime on a Sunday in the summer. So thank you. Oh, thank you, Carly. Yeah, one more swimmy time. Yep. See you, Virgil. All right, Conan. Yeah, see you, Lynn. See you, Blue. Yeah, thank you. All right, Brian. Yep. Have a good day. Bye, Lauren. Okay, Louise. Yeah, thank you. It was fun. All right, Lethea. See you, Mark. Yeah. Yeah, have a good day, guys. I might get on later tonight. I don't know. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.